Cisco 49 is deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all with prime time. John Taylor, Jerry Wright.
This is the 49er Faithful UK show, and this is week 5. The 1 and 3 Cardinals make the trip north to Levi Stadium, while we have enjoyed our victory week over the Pats. Our divisional rivals, are fresh off a 42-14 battering at home from the Washington Commodores. I'm Gareth Ellis, and I am joined by Paul Hope.
What's up, Faithful?
Lee Gowland.
Hey, fellas.
And yes, last show was not a fever dream. He is back, and he is Najee Karar.
Hello, everyone. Yes, fully back. I've signed the contract now, so I don't have a choice.
Yeah, good. Just need to get your match fit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, enjoyed Victory Week?
Yeah, it's nice. Victory Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays, and all that.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, it's good.
And
it's only the Patriots, though. So
it was. But you pulled in yet another star guest on a Wednesday live show, Paul.
We did. Well, how can the week get better? You start off a couple of weeks ago. Patrick Willis, Frank Gore, Najee Karar was back. That was the biggest one, everybody. And then Connor Rabone joined me and Lee last night, lead singer of the Gathering of Strangers. He told us off air he had half an hour. He probably could have stayed longer, but he was engaging, he was energetic, and he has promised us that he's going to come back on when we're in the Super Bowl. So we're excited for that, Gareth.
Nice.
Great stuff. Should we get straight into it? Lee, History Corner, you've prepared something special. Divisional rivals, we've got a lot of history, so...
We do, so I'm going to change it up a bit because obviously we play them twice a season, every season, so can't go down the same History Corner type of format. So I've changed it up a little bit. So I'm actually going to concentrate on one game and one particular player who had a foot in both camps. So the head-to-head, the 49ers lead that 36-29. The team, now this is not good news, mind you. You might want to sit down for this. The teams have played twice before on the 6th of October, and the Cardinals have won both games, most recently in 2016. So hopefully that's not an omen, because the way our season's been going at the moment, it can go either way. So the game I'm going to concentrate on is a game from 1982, November the 21st to be precise, and when the 49ers beat the Cardinals, and it was the St. Louis Cardinals, 31-20. Now, that should make you all happy and forget about those two defeats on the 6th of October, hopefully. So in the first quarter, Ray Wershing, he put us up by a field goal. And then in the second quarter, we had a 1-yard run by a guy called Jeff Moore. Plus the Ray Wershing point after touchdown made it 10-0. The Cardinals then came back with a Roy Green 17-yard pass from quarterback Neil Lomax. And their kicker, O'Donoghue, he brought the score back up to 10-7. On to the third quarter. This is where things get a little bit worse for the 49ers. 2 more field goals by O'Donoghue put the Cardinals into the lead 10-13 before Russ Francis hauled in a 6-yard pass from the unbelievable Joe Montana. And obviously Ray Wershing point after touchdown put the Niners back in front 17-13. Now the fourth quarter is where the 49ers stepped on the gas a little bit. Touchdown passes from Montana to both Dwight Clark and Earl Cooper pretty much put the game beyond the Cardinals, taking the score at 31-13, a score that we like on the show. It's a friend of the show, 31-13, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
Stealing my scoreline. But
not that he's bitter, everyone. Not that he's never let me forget about it. I'm getting a T-shirt made with that. Jamie Burgess, get me a T-shirt made.
That's not a bad idea. It is. It's not a bad idea, mate. The Cardinals came back towards the end with an Otis Anderson run in for a final touchdown. This was pretty much garbage time, and that brought the score to 31-20. So there's been quite a number of players who've had a foot in both camps, but I'm going to concentrate on one player, and he's quite a recent player. So I would imagine pretty much all of our listeners would recognise this name, I would hope. So I'm going to concentrate on Mike Iupati, who was an offensive guard from Idaho. He was drafted by the 49ers in 2010 in the first round, 17th overall. His first season, is third season, he ended up being an All-Pro for the 49ers. He was voted All-Pro. He played his first 5 seasons with the 49ers before being allowed to test free agency, where the Arizona Cardinals offered him a contract he couldn't refuse. And then he spent the next 4 seasons playing in Arizona, the first of which he ended up being an All-Pro second team selection. Those were the 2 really only real accolades he got throughout his career, throughout his NFL career, as far as we're concerned. But believe it or not, he played his entire career in the NFC West. But he didn't just play for the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals, because he saw the final 2 years of his career up in Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah. Iupati announced his retirement from the NFL after 11 seasons on the 22nd of February 2021. And I think he was probably one of the best guards I've seen since probably Jesse, if I'm honest. Because he was excellent. Yeah. I mean, that's some time ago. And I thought he was really good, a really good guard. And I mean, obviously he was, because we took him in the first round, 17th overall. And we had a really good draft that year, because I think that was the same year that we took Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Who ended up playing right guard. So Iupati was left guard, Davis was right guard. And we kind of hit lucky, because I think the season after that, Alex Boone kind of broke into the team as well. He'd been on the practice squad for 3 or 4 seasons. He stepped up. Obviously 2010, 2011 is when we got Jonathan Goodwin as centre. He was an excellent centre. We already had Joe Staley out on the left. So yeah, it was a pretty good team that we had then. A pretty good defensive line. And it's the type of offensive line that I think a lot of our fan base would absolutely scream for now. Because just think what we could do when Brock Purdy's got 27 seconds to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Because that's how much time he would have. The O-line was that good during those times.
Yeah, we did have a good O-line. Well, you don't go to a Super Bowl if you don't have a good O-line, especially with, Cap in the center.
So that is a wrap for History Corner. And I thought I'd just change it up a bit rather than do the normal one, and kind of concentrate on just certain things, a certain player and a certain game within the history. And after I saw that there was 2 defeats on the 6th of October, neither one of those was going to get chosen.
Fair enough.
Good, yeah, good. No, a dive back into the deep history. I think 82. Before some of our listeners were probably born.
Well, I wasn't born, so
yeah. Enough about that. Let's move on to the actual game. Let's come back to current times. Injury report. We'll start off with the Arizona Cardinals. A few players on the practice or not practicing or limited practicing list already. It is Thursday, so of course the practice has only just started for the week. They have missed in practice offensive lineman Isaiah Adams and Kelvin Beachum. Kicker Matt Prater, that could be interesting if he's not good to go. And cornerback Garrett Williams. Limited participation from tight end Trey McBride, tackle Chris Jones, and defensive tackle Kairis Tonga. So little bit beaten up, but possibly nothing more than you might expect by week 5 of an NFL season. And certainly slightly better than the Niners report. Not practicing so far. Yetur Gross-Matos, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Chris, friend of the show, Connolly, and Jacob Cowing, all not practicing this week, and some limited practice from Jordan Elliott, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, Kev Give, Talanoa Hufanga, and Trent Williams, though I assume Trent Williams was probably more just a planned veteran type day. I hope so.
Resting player.
Player.
Doesn't practice Wednesdays.
That's good. And on a positive note, defensive tackle Kalia Davis, who started the season on IR, was a full participant in practice. Thanks for bringing the list up. Any concerns there, guys, particularly from the Niners side? I mean, the kicker missing from the Cardinals. I don't want to give anything away, but I don't think the game's going to be close enough that it might come down to the kicker. But never a good thing when you're missing your kicker.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, he's a vet. I'm sure they've got a contingency plan. They'll just sign somebody off.
Vizcano.
Yeah, Vizcano's probably lurking around somewhere. No, a bit concerned about linebacker though. Fred D. Winters and Demetrius Fanagas-Fowl. That's with Dre being out. That's a lot of linebackers.
It is actually.
And we're gonna need them. More on that later.
I think
Yeah, so Warner
Fred has
has said.
indicated he wants to play, but sorry, Lee, I cut you off.
No, I was going to say exactly what you've just said there, Gareth.
Got it.
You took the words out of my mouth.
I did. So there we go. We're nothing else to say. George Kittle again, not practicing. I mean, again, I hope that is just a precautionary thing. You sometimes say because let's face it, he's veteran age now.
Mm-hmm.
He's a veteran player, the sort of player that you would begin to manage their practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of his age and mileage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after the game he put on Sunday, I think he's fine. But yeah, especially a rib injury, it's one of those that you can probably play under, but then you really pay for it. Like a couple of days after it really hurts. So just a rest so he can get himself back to playing again. Because we're him again. We're gonna need him, I think. We're gonna need him.
Be good to see Talanoa Hufanga back. Obviously, he played and then sat out a game. I think just managing coming back from injury.
Yeah.
So it would be good to get him on the field. I
didn't get a chance to talk about this because I didn't do the Rams review or preview. But I thought he played too much. In that game, there was no chance he was going to be anywhere near match fit. And I think we relied a little bit too much on him to do things he hasn't done for almost a year. I would have liked to seen him on the snap count and getting him some easy reps to just get him back to normal. And he clearly wasn't ready at all since his ankle has given up a little bit. It always happens. You hurt a knee and then you overcompensate by running a little different, and then you hurt something else. Hopefully we can manage him the way we're managing all of our injuries. Just it doesn't need to start. I'd rather keep him for later on. Again, so
I'm not going to lie. I'm biased, but I want him playing the full game every game of the season now.
Yeah,
I've got him down as comeback player of the season.
Oh, I see.
He's worth 1,500 to me.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Fair. It'll take some time though. It's hard coming back after not playing for a year.
It's hard to get up to game speed, isn't it? We saw Williams on the last game sprinting out ahead of Mason, and we haven't seen that in the first couple of games. And when you hold out, or as you become a veteran, Gareth, it's all good and well being in the gym, smashing the training, but there's nothing like game speed. And like Nadji said, I think Hufanga was maybe overused a little bit in the Rams game, but it was good to see him on the sideline last week bouncing around. Yeah. But we do need to protect some of these guys because there's a lot of football to be played. They don't want to rush anyone back.
There is. Should we have a look at our opponents and their offense? The Cardinals' offense, well known to us. Obviously, Kyler's been there for a few years now. Some new weapons, a little bit of a shake-up. They've scored points this season. I think it's the other side of the ball where they've really, really seemed to have struggled.
Yep.
Run us through it. Who's gonna take charge of this?
Well, before we start, you said they've scored points, Gareth. Now, me and Lee were talking on the live last night, and I fell into the trap of listening to the talking heads, the clips you see on social media, and you'd think, the Cardinals are playing quite well this season. They're 1-3. They've scored 96 points in 4 games, which 26 have come from the kicker. So you alluded to the kicker not playing at the start of this. Mm-hmm. Suddenly you take that out. Now, from the game tape that I've watched, Petzing's in his second year as the coordinator, but this offense is still Cliff Kingsbury's. They start quite well in the first quarter, then they fade. But you're right, the weapons, they've been given Marvin Harrison Jr., who, from what I can see, 243 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, not a bad return from your rookie. James Conner, 293 rush yards, 3 touchdowns. And the magic man, as the Cardinals fans call him, Kyler Murray, and he's running around. He's got 777 pass yards and 6 touchdowns. But interestingly, chaps, when he doesn't rush, they don't play well. And last week against the Commanders, he had 1 rush for 3 yards. And what was the score, Gareth, at the start? You reminded me. What was the score last week?
42-14.
So as much as they're going on about this offense, at the moment they're ranked 25th overall for passing yards, 179 per game. They're ranked 5th in the rushing game, which is mainly James Conner. And like I said, third down completion, 43%, 10th in the league. And we'll get onto the defense, but this offense isn't helping the defense. There's a lot of quick and outs. The defense are not getting time to rest. Anyone else want to join in, chip on the offense? Because for me, it's those 3 players. It's Murray, Connor, Marvin Harrison Jr. That's what speaks to me when I'm watching the game.
Well, I mean, you can't rule out Mike Wilson. Who tore us apart last year.
He did.
Who did he go to college again in, Lee? Because that's why I stayed away from that one. See how easy that one was, everyone. But what college did he go to again? It was a local Bay
Area college, Stanford.
Did Mike Bride play at Stanford as well?
I think he did, yes.
Yeah, two Stanford alumni. I think they've got a very, very good offense. Even Greg Dodge is not not bad at all. He can stretch defenses. He's like a little speedster guy. And then, Harrison Jr., when they got him involved and he played really well, they torched the Rams, which, we lost against. So it's a divisional rival. It's not, I think, as black and white as the stats would suggest. I think it's gonna be a tough game for our secondary, I think, because we've seen what Justin Jefferson done to us, and I truly believe James Harrison Jr. can get to that level. Even if he gets to half of what his dad was, that'll be very good. So, I'm a bit scared of him. He's very good. He's been extremely good at Ohio State for the time I've watched him. Again, it's Murray. We know what he can do. And Connor seems to have really good games against us. Wilson seems to have very good games against us. And the O-line isn't actually too bad. It's an interesting matchup. We're going to have that defense that kind of showed up last week if we want to be in a chance of winning this game, I think. I think it's going to be a lot of points. I'm expecting a shootout. That's why I've got. So we'll see.
So just a correction there. Trey McBride played for Colorado State.
See, because what's interesting, Nadji, they lost the first game 34-28 to the Bills. So you're right, that was high scoring. I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
They blew the Rams out 41-10, which I think a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon there because, as you said, this offense clicked. They had a nail biter against the Lions 20-13, and then Washington just had the way with them last week. Watching that game tape back was strange because, as you said, when preparing for this, I knew you were back, so I didn't deep dive into the offense, but I expected more. And you would talk about the eye test on this show, so you don't look at the stats. I mean, Murray not running seemed crazy to me because it's a strength of his. The fact that he's been sacked 10 times this season. Obviously, he didn't play a lot last year. And obviously, they've had the turnover of staff. And Gannon's known as being a more defensive head coach. But like you said, we shouldn't take some of their weapons lightly. But when I've been doing the deep dive and I've gone and listened to some of the Cardinals content creators who do what we do, they're not a happy bunch at the moment on either side of the ball. So
but they're 1-3. They've lost 3 games. That's why. But the first they were leading against Buffalo until the week 1 shenanigans, tiredness kicked in, and they lost narrowly, and then they blew out the Rams, and then very tight against the Lions, which was a good team. Let's not forget what the Lions brought to us in Levi last year, and they only lost by a touchdown, and then. Yeah, they just travel to Washington. We know how hard it is to go east and play earlier, and sometimes you just go through a game. I really would not underestimate this Cardinals team. I think
they were at home to Washington.
Oh, they were home to Washington. My bad. Okay, well, yeah, they got destroyed, but it happens. Also,
they did get destroyed.
No, they get destroyed. But sometimes it happens. I would not underestimate them. They are able to score points in various different ways as well. They can be more than one-dimensional. They can feed Connor. They can feed Harrison. They've got McBride if he plays. He's in a concussion protocol. And they've got Wilson who, last year 2 games torched us. So I would be worried. This is a good test. It's a good test for our team to see where we're actually at. I think this is maybe the first true, real good team that might make the playoff that we're playing against. So, yeah.
I'm surprised they're probably not 2-2. I've got to say.
Yeah.
And having said that, I think Washington have surprised everybody so far with the way they've played and the way their rookie quarterback is playing. But the Cardinals have been a bit of a bogey team for us when they're not actually that good. They somehow come to Levi's and put a performance in. There's been a couple over the last few years. Different coaching. I think Kyler is perhaps not quite as dynamic as he was in his early years. I think that ACL, as we often see with players, does change the way a quarterback wants to play. And I think this offense is still trying to find how it's going to gel. I think with the change in personnel, and I think the offensive line struggled against Washington for sure. I think Kyler got sacked quite a few times in that game. They've been giving up the sacks. I think Paul's got that. Paul's got a number because he is Mr.
Four
Stafford.
times. He was sacked four times last week. And like you said, Nadji, you go week to week, but the Commanders absolutely dominated them in all facets of the game. 449 yards to 296, 29 first downs to 17, and obviously the scoreboard and young, exciting quarterbacks. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk's favourite quarterback, aside from Brock Purdy, was playing. Jaden Daniels went for 26 to 30, 233 yards. What was interesting, Kyler Murray struggled. And the Commanders, as much as they've been good, Nadji, their secondary's not great. And Murray himself was only, I've got the stats, he didn't do great last week, which a lot of them weren't very happy about in Cardinals land. 16 of 22 for only 142 yards last week and a touchdown against arguably one of the league's worst pass defenses. And what do the Cardinals need going into this game? They're going up against the 49ers defense. And I'm sure Hufanga's going to feature on either Lee's bold predictions or your bold predictions, Nadji. You're playing this down too well, lads, because when the score prediction bit comes on, I know you two too well.
Standard.
Totally. The Cardinals will want to put last week right. I think that's embarrassing. A rookie quarterback coming to your house and torching you like that, no matter how good he's been playing, that's embarrassing. They will want a get right game, and I think they'll be up for it.
Yeah, I do feel like people are kind of disrespecting Washington a little bit by thinking now. I do think Washington's made some extremely good moves this offseason, and I did say that a while back. I think they are going to be a very good team very soon. I didn't expect it to be that soon, and Jaden Daniels is playing extremely well. Whether that's sustainable or not, I haven't watched them personally, so I'm not sure. But again, it's just one game. Sometimes the game gets away from you, and you kind of stop playing in the third quarter because there's no really point, and then the game goes away from you even more. I don't know. As you said, I think the history of the recent years and us going to them when they were very bad and still losing, or them coming to us and making a game out of it. It's a divisional game. Anything can happen, and I expect a big fight. And I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun to watch.
Are you telling me, Nadji, you've not erased the Colt McCoy game from your memory? Because we were all very bullish about that one.
That kind of game, they just pull out the bag, and we know Kyler can just take off and pull out an like MVP type performance. He's got it in him. So
I think Connor had a good game that game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
well, didn't he?
Very good game. And now they've added. They're not worse than they were, a few years ago. And they've got Harrison Jr., who I have the utmost respect. And to me is the new Fitzgerald. I'm looking forward to seeing what his career is going to be. It's going to be a joy to watch. I just like to watch football players sometimes, and he's one of them. So yeah.
Should we flip it over and have a look at the Cardinals' defense?
Maybe this is why I'm bullish, Nadji, because I give you the offense is better. I mean, under Gannon and Rallis, this defense tends to be a less of a four-down defensive front like they used to use in Philadelphia, Gareth. More of a hybrid 4-2-5, but they lean towards a basic 3-4 principles up front. The Cards defense, chaps, is currently ranked 29th overall in the NFL. They've allowed 106 points against them this season, which is about 26.5 points per game. Against the pass, they've allowed 833 passing yards, or a good first quarter from Brock Purdy, whichever way you want to look at it, and 5 passing touchdowns on the season. However, there is a positive for the defense at this point, Najee. They haven't allowed an opposing player to get more than 100 receiving yards against them. So 4 games in, they've kept the offensive star players down to under 100 yards, which, given the secondary is not very good, it's positive that I wanted to get out there.
Yeah.
Against the rush, they've allowed 586 yards. They've conceded 8 rushing touchdowns. But as you said, Najee, you look at last week, they scored 4, the Commanders. So out of the 8 all season, 4 came last week, and 216 of those rushing yards came last week as well. Now, when I looked at the game tape, the secondary has been largely ineffective, and linebacker Keziah White has been bullied in the quick passing game all season. Now, they have played against the likes of Stafford and Goff, who tend to get the ball out quickly, and that's jumped out on the tape. They've targeted him in particular in the middle of the field. They've got the ball out, and they've given up quite large chunks of yardage. Most of the pass rush comes from Dennis Gardeck. He's got 3 sacks this year, and Xavier Collins has got 1 sack, but they don't get anything from anywhere else across that front 7. They're the 2 to watch out for. And Lopez is the only defensive tackle who has kind of contributed with a bit of pressure. The ability to affect the pocket outside of sacks has been poor, to be fair, lads. They've allowed clean pockets on 76% of the dropbacks they've faced this year. That's per Next Gen Stats, if you're interested. That's the 10th worst in the league so far. So I'm licking my lips looking at this. Brock Purdy's going to have a clean pocket. He's going to have time to pick them apart. And if that doesn't work, we just give it to Jordan Mason, RB1. Now Najee's back. But whether the Cardinals get any pressure on Brock, they're just giving up yards at an alarming rate. This defense, like I said, you can look at the stats, as you said, Najee, and sometimes you take it with a pinch of salt. Red zone efficiency, they're ranked 27th. Completions against, they're ranked 32nd. Pass rush win, 31st. Rushing touchdowns against, 32nd. Run stop win, 32nd. And I've tried to kind of come on this show and give a little bit of positives for the Cardinals defense, but for me, they're one of the worst I've seen this season. And I haven't watched a lot of them, Najee, but preparing for tonight's show, the Cardinals defense gives me a lot of hope going into this game. The offense might be good. It might be a high-scoring game, like you've said, but I don't see how they stop either Brock Purdy, Debo, and Ayuk and flip it round. I don't see how they stop Debo and Jordan Mason in the running game. And that, Gareth, is my whistle-stop coaching report on the Cardinals defense.
Well, I should ask Lee what he thinks, because I think he's nodded off. I know.
Probably.
No, I'm in the middle of creating an event for the Belfast meetup.
Ooh, teasing.
To me, every time we play the Cardinals, it worries us. It doesn't matter how they've played other teams, it always worries us. I mean, Buda Baker, he's been the bane of our lives for a good 4 or 5 seasons now, and I like nothing more than to see him fall flat in his face. So I'm kind of hoping.
Stiff arms by George Kittle.
Yeah, that
long ago.
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping we have a game where we do make them look pretty stupid, pretty poor. The defense, they don't really worry us at all, and I don't think that says as much about their defense as what does about our quarterback. I have full confidence in Brock now. I mean, I was always confident in Brock, but the way I've seen him orchestrate plays over the last few weeks when he hasn't had his weapons, I am fully convinced that it doesn't matter what defense we come up against, Brock Purdy will be able to make plays. We will score points. And I can see this game hinging on how healthy we are on defense, because I think the matchup between our offense and their defense, we winning that every single day of the week. So I've got no worries there at all.
So you've mentioned the games. We're 4-1 against them in the last 5 games, yet we lost in November the 7th,
we do, but it doesn't stop us worrying about them.
Games.
Yeah.
I know, but equally, we go on, we're in division.
Former.
Kyle Shanahan knows how to play the divisional rivals, the way he set this team up. I know we're going to get into it now. We've done the kind of scouting report. I mean, Sorensen seems to have got to grips. The more he blitzes, the better this team does. And that shows on the blitz rate. You go from week on week. And I think we're going to see us contain Kyler Murray quite well. Those words might come and bite me. And maybe on Thursday night I'm feeling confident. But
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
One thing that I've liked about doing the way we do it this way, So for the last few days, I've been plugged into Cardinals content creators, and I've been on their Twitter and listening to what they're saying. Now, most fan bases are like us. They're very bullish. They're very confident. The Cardinals fans are like, they're not confident at all heading into this one.
Interesting.
And it's been quite interesting. I mean, I watched an hour YouTube show last night where they were ripping the defense apart. That's where I got some of these stats from, like literally ripping them apart. And I was thinking, the only positive they had was what Lee said, Buda Baker. And even then, there's rumours he might be getting traded or he might want out. So they're saying they don't know whether he's going to be playing 100%. And we've got George Kittle, baby. He can do well against Buda Baker.
Well, if we have George Kittle.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? There's a combination of us not being healthy and them being fairly healthy, and Buda Baker, as you said, Lee, has been a pain in our side for quite some time. And Savin Collins is having a decent season, and he's going against our worst O-line. So, you can see cracks and the way they could exploit, our offense. And you never know, right? It could be one of those days where nothing works. I'm fully confident that Brock is gonna, tear it apart, and I hope Ayuk takes another steps into being 100% because we're gonna need that, and hopefully George is close to 100% because we're gonna need that. Again, it's I think you're right, Gareth. It's trauma, isn't it? It's divisional rivals. They have beaten us in the past, and in games that we should have won, or we would by far the better team, and somehow they found a way. It's the NFL. Um, the margins are very, very small, and despite all the stats and everything, sometimes you just put 42 points on the Rams. And the Rams are not a bad team. It's just,
the Rams were beat up though, weren't they, Nadji? The
yeah,
knock on this
absolutely.
Cardinals
But
team is they haven't got that kind of like togetherness. They haven't got that culture yet. I don't know. Maybe
we
I'm just
played
hating
them
on
beat up,
Gannon.
and we couldn't put 42 points on them. So that's what I'm saying. It's just I would be very careful on underestimating this team and the way they could potentially rally around their new coach and their franchise QB now. Because they do have the weapon on offense. Yeah, I agree with you. This defense, apart from Buda Baker, does not scare me. Although Kazir White can play much better than he has so far, um, I'm not scared of this. And I know those cornerbacks and those safeties can be beaten. Buda Baker has been beaten in the past, and we can run on them, absolutely. I'm more worried about the other side, and them taking off and being able to score 40 points, and then making this a shootout, which I have a sneaky suspicion it might be, just because it's week 5, people are starting getting tired, and it's that time of the season. At Levi, they want to put that game away, so they're going to be in a very competitive spirit. Yeah, I very cautious about this game. I think we'll win. Don't get me wrong, and we can absolutely destroy them too. But I've got this nagging feeling that it's going to be a close one.
I think the only way they win is turning it into a shootout. I do think what is going to be key is Fred Warner. As we mentioned earlier, obviously the defense is going to be different without Fred. You miss a player of that caliber, who we've always said is worth 2 players on defense. It's going to be a big hole anyway. But without Dre, without some of the linebackers there, we might have to make a bit of an adjustment. I can see us potentially, hopefully, if Huff is playing with 3 safeties, we might want a bit of speed. And the risk, I think, of course, is being able to flush Kyler Murray, and without the linebackers there, he's able to feast on some yardage in the middle. Yeah. We try and make a defensive adjustment to that, and we start leaving spaces for his receivers or for his run game. And I just think that's probably how we cope without Fred. It's probably on us. If we can cope and contain them without Fred, then we'll be okay. They will be licking their chops, obviously, if Fred Warner is unable to go. And so I do think that's going to be important. If Fred plays, I'm super confident. If he doesn't, then there's something there for the Cardinals to potentially really exploit. And I think it's going to be down to us and Sorensen to make sure that we can patch up missing a huge player like Fred.
mean, you're missing the best football player in football if Fred doesn't play. And you're right, Najee's back and he's grounding us. We're not here just to kind of bang the drum and say this 49ers defense is, elite. We've struggled on third down. We've seen even the Patriots attack us on third down. We've seen it's a copycat league. Teams are putting the 3 wide receivers out there and our secondary's not coping with it. And as you've said, Najee, they've got a few good receivers coming this way. So if we do manage to stop the run, Kyler Murray could put the ball in his hands. But I think we've done well in recent years against Kyler Murray. We kind of contained him out of the pocket to the green. I think Bosa's going to be hungry. So I'm feeling quite confident. But we've lost El Presidente. He's too busy making his plans for Belfast, everyone. I can see whenever he's got his phone in his hand on one of these shows, everybody wants to know what he's doing. So I'm telling you what he's doing.
You know what he should be doing instead is working on his prediction. Just saying.
I've already got my prediction sorted, mate.
Okay.
Already got sorted.
Let's move smoothly into that. The betting lines, the score, the betting lines. The Niners are 7.5 point favourites, and the over/under is a whopping 49.5. So people out there do think it might well be a shootout. The score predictions table, once again, I'm in the strange, uncharted territory, I think, of being in the top. I'll have to go first, won't I, with the score prediction?
Indeed.
I don't think this is actually going to be that tight. I think our offense can get ahead early in this game, knock a little bit of the wind out of the Cardinals, and we are going to walk away with a 34-17 win.
Wow.
Giddy Gareth. I'm sure you look at my notes. I'm thinking, but go on, Najee, what have you got? 52, 51, 65, 70 or something the way you've been talking?
No. No, I don't have quite that. But I do have a lot of points. I've been toying. I almost went into the 40s earlier today. I was just like, maybe like a good old NFL shootout, pure offense, no defense. I mean, Fred is the big question mark here. I think that's why I kind of expected. I took my expectations down a bit. I think he'll play, which means it's going to be in the high 30s. But I think if Fred doesn't play, it's going to be in the whole 40s. Niners are going to win 36-34.
Emotional roller coaster or what?
Yeah, it's going to be a close one.
Get ready if Najee's right. Oh my God.
Walk-off field goal to win.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be loads of turnovers. It's going to be one of those games. Might even be the game of the year. We'll see.
And it's a Sky game. So, as I'm next, which El Presidente is raging about, I've also got a Niners win. I've also got 34 points, Gareth, but I've got the Cardinals on 14. I'm not as convinced as you guys about this offense and watching them struggle last week. Maybe the recent bias is fresh in my mind, and the Commanders, as you said, Najee, a lot of people aren't giving them the credit. So I think we win this one 34-14.
Wow.
Right, so that's interesting. And listening to the scouting report, or more importantly, listening to the injury report, that's probably changed my prediction. So there was a method in my madness when I brought up a particular game to talk about in History Corner, because originally I was going to go 31-20. But now that I know Prater's got an injury, they have to bring in a sub or he's playing injured, then I think 14 points to the Cardinals isn't a bad shout.
They're going to score way more.
No, they're not, Najee. They're going to score 14. Positive mental attitude. I'm putting it out there.
You know what? I'm going to stick to my original score. So I'm going for a win, 31-20.
Interesting. I wonder if this is the first week we see some people on Discord predicting a Cardinals win, because I wouldn't put it past them.
What, the people on Discord or the Cardinals?
Both, actually. What did you say? Are we favorite? Well,
7.5.
7.5. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, fair enough.
We were home.
It's just something I haven't had a chance to talk about. It is my players watch, but the safety room is not been playing great. So I think there's exploitations to be had. Mustafa has been kind of hit and miss. It seems like he wants to be the new camp chancellor, but he's whiffing on so many tackle that he's not quite there yet. And
He
Brown
just needs to
is,
calm down, I think. And
yeah,
focus.
he's a little bit like an excited puppy at the moment.
Yeah.
Just kind of, Fred kind of went through that phase as well, so I'm sure he'll sort that out eventually, and it'll lay the boom on somebody. But
As did Greenlaw, I
as
think.
a Greenlow, indeed,
Yeah.
yes. As for Brown, I think he's kind of he's got too much responsibility in it as a second year player to basically be the man calling the shots in the back end. Definitely missing Ufanga to do that kind of thing and making sure people are in the right place and stuff. And I think his game is kind of lessened a little bit because he has to try and elevate his mental and try and read what's going on as well as being at the right spot and all that. So as much as I want Huff to come back, and I agree with you, Lee, if he can play the whole game, that would be amazing. I think Brown and Mustafa have not quite hit the mark yet, but they're young, and Odom is, kind of a lesser caliber player. He's good, hit and miss, and he can make some good plays, but not quite consistently enough to be a starter, I think. But yeah, I think what you said about the free safety might be a great shout, especially on those third and long where we need to keep Kyler in the pocket. We need a bit of speed to be able to track
And
him
to
down.
speed, to
Yeah,
hunt him down. Yeah.
I
And
agree.
I think that's a good analysis of the safeties. I would just say, obviously, I think some of that might well be the new defensive scheme, the new defensive coordinator that we have
there's that too.
seen. Sometimes the secondary look a little lost
Yeah,
on a play here and there. So
I think Brandon Staley's scheme is pretty complicated. It does stem from that old Seattle defense thing, when they had superstars everywhere. But it's super hard to run, and you have to be good at what you do, and you know what's going on as well. The level. If you just listen to Richard Sherman talk about the game and the way he analyzes play and the way he used to play, he wasn't just the fastest and the strongest and jumped the highest. He was also the smartest player on the field. So that's going to take them some time to get there. And I think that's probably why Mooney is now being quite the Mooney Ward we know as well. It's all adjusting to this new scheme and finding their feet. And I've got some boldies for that. Segue into the boldies.
yeah, Boldies. Take it away, Najee, if you've got them
Well,
ready, warm.
we haven't talked about it too much, and I've predicted a high-scoring game. That means turnovers, and I think Mooney Ward's gonna have 2 pick, and one of them will be a pick 6.
We love to see
Like
it.
last year.
Here's a body.
Like
We haven't
last
talked about
year.
Mooney. We haven't talked about Mooney quite as much as we would like to, because he's good. He's very good.
Who's next?
Well, I'll jump in on the back of Najee's because
boy.
we talked about Fred Warner not being there, and I think Kyler Murray is going to be lured into throwing deep. And I think, as Najee said, I think Ward gets a pick. I think Lenore gets a pick. I think Brown gets a pick. Now, I don't see a pick 6, but I see Murray being sacked 5 times because if you look at his numbers against the blitz, he doesn't do very well against the blitz. And that's why I said earlier in the show, we've been ramping up those blitzes. We've been getting the players used to the scheme. According to this, Murray's been blitzed on 33% on his dropbacks, and his yards per attempt dropped by nearly 2 yards when blitzed. So I think that ball's going to be up there.
He's tiny, isn't it?
We know Gareth loves a pick 6, but that Mooney Ward touchdown against them, it was amazing. And when you watch the route back, Ward knew what he was going to do. And I think we're going to see more of that in division rivals. They know each other quite well. So they're my defensive ones. I'll keep my offensive ones. I'll let Lee give his bold predictions because he's going to have loads like he always does.
I've
Probably
got 4.
one with Bosa again.
2 defensive, 2 offensive. No, so Bosa, I'm not giving anything to Bosa this week. It's the same to jinx him. So I'm going to go with 2 interceptions as well. But my 2 interceptions are going to be by Huff, who's going to win me £1,500 by the end of the season as the comeback player of the year. And the next one is the boldest of bold.
Ooh.
Boldies.
Drum roll.
Have you got a drum roll for this one?
Okay. So Jalen Graham to be elevated to the game day roster, and we finished the game with everybody talking about him being the next Fred Warner.
That's bold.
I like that.
That is
It's a bit
bold.
different as
I do
well,
like
which
it,
is
yeah.
not
Yeah.
just stat thing. That's good. I hope so. That'll be cool.
Yeah. Got
Gareth?
any offensive ones, as you say, Leo? We're going to let Gareth
What
do
about
his defensive.
Gareth?
I've put Gareth needs to do his defensive ones first.
No, well, I've only got an offensive one so far, actually.
Okay, well, go on
There's
then.
there's a bit to it, but it's quite simple. Purdy, 400 yards, 4 TDs.
Ooh.
That's Ayuk, JJ, Debo, and Juice all through
Nice.
the air.
I like it. Ooh, 400 yards. Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot. I had kind of similar-ish. I think Ayuk's gonna have a day, 2 touchdowns, but I don't know if that's bold. Is that bold for Ayuk,
Really?
considering the
Well,
beginning of the season? I
yeah.
think he'll go, let's say, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then I think Purdy's gonna go picture perfect, 115.6.
Well, it's bold, Najee, because they haven't allowed a 100-yard receiver yet. See, this is where I come and back you up.
Oh, it is.
So it
There we
is
go. There we
bold.
go.
It is
Ayuk
bold.
100 plus and 2 TDs.
I've
That's
got
me.
them all getting 4 of them getting 99 yards.
Yeah.
I knew you'd come in there, Gareth. I mean, I've got the 4 touchdowns as well, but I'm quite impressed the fact that we've ran the ball more to the right because of Lee's favourite player, number 77, than we have the left. And I just think after last week, I think we're going to see another Jordan Mason masterclass. But I think he's going to catch his first receiving touchdown of the season. And I think Brock Purdy is going to rush one in because we've seen him scramble outside the pocket. And I think Carl's going to dial something up where we see Purdy rush it in. And then finish off my touchdowns. I think Ayuk and Debo are in for big games this week. Debo, I think, will be used to alleviate some of the pressure off Mason. And I think Ayuk is ready to show why we paid him the money. And gamble responsible, just because El Presidente has put his money where his mouth is. Just be careful, everyone.
That's very true. That's very true.
So, in true Gowland fashion, I'm going to go with the boldest of the boldies for Orford.
As expected.
Even bolder than your last boldest of the bold.
Even bolder than that.
Wow.
Brandon Ayuk is going to have more than 50 yards receiving.
That is bold.
That is bold. Not only that, there's even one bolder than that. Ronnie Bell will catch a pass.
Oh my God, that is the boldest. That is.
Come on now.
Someone check that flask. Check that flask. What have you got in there? That's not happening.
That is ridiculous. The Ronnie Bell will not see grass for the entire year ever again.
Yeah, I think he's
I think you're
probably going to be a scratch.
Yeah, I am very surprised we haven't released him. So, in all seriousness, I kind of think along the same lines as Paul. I think Jordan Mason is going to have, I'm going to say, 50 yards receiving in the game.
Very good.
Because I think he can fill in for CMC in the other areas that CMC plays. And I think potentially against the Cardinals, we're going to see a lot more passes out to the flat to Jordan Mason and get him doing yards after the catch.
Sounds
Punisher
good to me.
out front, leading the way. You haven't said it yet, Lee. I've been waiting for you. I set you up with 77. What's your nickname for Dominic?
What, the Punisher?
The Punisher. Yeah, I mean, that's very good.
That is good.
Fitted.
Yeah.
Fitted straight for him. Oh, nice. Very nice.
I think the D line, I think, is going to get after Kyler. I think he's going to have another battering like he did against Washington. I think we're going to sack him 4 times.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong on my score. I'm not going to lie. I don't really care. If we bat them 34-14 or whatever you guys say, I'll be very happy. But I just don't see him. I just don't see him.
So I think the good thing about Kyler Murray is the way he scrambles. He scrambles in the direction where Nick Bosa normally comes. So Nick Bosa normally comes around the outside of the left tackle and comes around the back to get the quarterback. And most of the times the quarterback's stepping up in the pocket, which is why I don't think he's getting as many sacks as what he could do, even though he's getting the pressure for them and he's kind of driving them into the other players who are then getting the sacks. But the way Kyler Murray scrambles, I think Bosa will feed, but I didn't want to jinx him again by putting a boldy on him.
Yeah,
I'm done with boldies for Bosa.
Yeah, we do it too. We always do it at the beginning of the season. We expect him to go off, and then he doesn't. And we're like, oh, and then he'll just ramp up and get the sacks he needs later. I'm sure
he will.
I think Samio should. If Samio has a good game, we'll win that game.
Obviously. Sammy boy, that's him.
Sammy boy, yeah.
Yeah. Anything
What's his
else?
surname,
Or should we
Paul?
wrap up?
I'll leave that to you, Lee. Well, actually, Gareth, we
Go on.
forgot that next week is a short week. So we're obviously
I
playing the
haven't forgotten.
Seahawks on the Thursday. Well, me and Lee did, because at the end of the live show last night, we were like, back next week. However, I think we'll be moving stuff around next week because we're going to have to record the Seattle preview on the Wednesday. So obviously, logistics dictate. And as Lee's teased, November the 10th could be quite historic for the 49er Faithful UK. We could have 3 local meetups, one in Belfast, one in Leeds, and one in London. But the London one isn't officially finalised yet. Jason, who we mentioned in last week's show, he owns a bar in Clapham and he's looking to get set up, and he's alluded to that being the first date, November the 10th. So, Lee, we've always talked about people arranging local meetups. It'd be quite epic to see 3 running at the same time, basically.
It wouldn't
I'm
surprise
going to
me.
make a bold prediction and say there's going to be 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me if Georgina puts something together in
Exactly.
Manchester.
So I think Manchester and potentially on the south coast in Southampton.
Yeah. It would appear that the Brewdog in Manchester, not that are we doing any advertising at all, but apparently they're showing NFL now. They caught on the
They certainly are.
Caught on the fact that people watch football late.
Brewdog, that particular bar.
What did you say on Facebook? That's where it killed fun, Paul Hope or something. Brewdog.
Yeah.
But we'll put everything on the group on Facebook, on Discord. We'll tell you here on the live if we hear of anything that's official. But yeah, Belfast.
So the Leeds one isn't in Leeds City Centre. It's at Hickory. I think Seb Chandler setting up. However, Jasmine will be attending her first meet-up, so she's very excited. She's got a Kittle jersey ready. Nice. She's very excited because being confirmed family-friendly under 18s, and with it being a local one for me, it's only an hour in the car.
Right.
Spoke to Tracy, 6 o'clock kickoff. So Tracy and Jasmine will be in attendance. So I'm looking forward to sharing my passion with the girls, and Jasmine's very excited. And I said I'd give her a shout out on tonight's show. So there you go, Jasmine.
Yeah. So I'll just break down the Belfast one as well. So the Belfast one, I've just put the event in the group. This is going to be held at the White Abbey Masonic Social Club, a darts club that David Young has access to. That's where he plays darts. He plays darts for them. He's already shown us what the setup's going to be like. I think he showed us this about 2 years ago when we were trying to arrange for a Super Bowl meetup over in Belfast. And obviously, because it's like a private venue, we'll be able to watch DAZN on there. So it's pretty much guaranteed that's on. Well, it is guaranteed that's on. There's going to be food. There's going to be pre-game games. Armchair quarterback, tailgate food and drinks. There's going to be DJ with a 49ers mix on. And like I said, we're going to be able to watch the 49ers Bucks, and then straight afterwards it'll be the Eagles Cowboys. So two very good games to watch. It's open to anybody that wants to come. So just go over to the event page, put your name down, so we know how many people's going to come.
That does sound fantastic.
Rewinding back, we mentioned it, but this week's game, Gareth, is the Sky game, unfortunately, for some people. Yeah. So it will be blacked out on DAZN. I'm in the same boat as you guys. I don't have Sky.
Yeah.
But looking at the Slater games, it was obvious. The Chiefs meet up in Newcastle, looking at those Slater games, that's going to be a Sky game. Because when you look at the other 2 games, there's no way Sky are missing up Mahomes versus the 49ers.
Yeah,
but yes,
Super Bowl repeat, definitely.
This week will be blacked out. So I don't know, Lee, possibly a mini meet in Stockton. I don't know yet because I don't have Sky. So keep those notifications switched on if you're in the Northeast.
I'm fine with that. And we should get at least half a dozen people to that one.
Well, for the people that aren't super used to the NFL or how it all works, if Sky decides to show the game, it's blackout on your Game Pass. So that means you can't watch it for 24 full hours, which is very annoying. Mm-hmm. That means the Monday at 9 o'clock. So you can't even watch it the next day if you're working or anything. It's super annoying. Some VPN have been known to work, but it's very hit and miss. So yeah, this is perfect. This keeps falling, and it's very annoying for people on YouTube watching it. this kind of week is perfect for a little meetup. Just go in town, find a bar, and tell us where you're going, and then people will come and join and watch a game with you. But yeah, I don't personally have that problem. I have other means of watching the game, but yeah, IPTVs are all the rage. This is how I watch my college football, so it's very handy sometimes to be able to flick over, put some Niners only live though, so it's all good. But yeah, this is the bane we have to contend by being a good team, unfortunately, and reaching far in the playoffs. Usually, when you're a bad team, you're not on Sky, which is quite nice. But also, you're a bad team, so it's not that nice. But yeah, so yeah. Any question about that? Hit us up, and we can help you try and figure out how to go and watch a game somewhere if you don't have Sky.
I think Sky have realised that if they pick the Niners, there's a chance they can get League Outland on, and when that happens, the show just ends up fantastic, doesn't it? So
that's it. It does end up being fantastic.
So it's
I can't
Lee's
argue
fault.
with that.
Yeah.
Well, how dare you try to argue?
Well, he is the eye candy of the UK faithful, as he said himself in the group chat. We've got the screenshots. Now, looking forward to the game day thread. We will be keeping it on Discord again because I think that worked well last week.
Yeah.
Possibly Nadji After Dark might creep in because it's a 9:25
It's 9:25,
so it was bubbling last week, everybody.
It was bubbling last week. So again, for the people that don't know, we tend to try and stay kids friendly and family friendly, but past a certain times we unshackle everybody, and then it gets pretty funny. It's quite rude, and it's quite it's quite funny.
And we don't care about the score prediction game. You lot on Discord, you took it over. You've ruined it for us. There you go. Are you happy now?
No, we do care, and we will beat you. That is my promise. We're coming for you, faithful. We're coming for you.
Where's your rabbit hole warning, Gareth?
We've
been trying to get you to throw it all.
I've been trying to wrap up for about 8 minutes.
Here's an idea, though, with the score predictions, because obviously Discord group are against us four as individuals. Maybe as well as being against us four as individuals, we should also average out our 4 predictions and put that against the Discord group.
I love how competitive you are.
Against
just let them win.
You're just desperate for a win, though, Lee. You're just trying to find some way to get your score up by Steve and everybody else.
There is also so on Discord. Obviously, we use the Discord as a whole to compete against us, but on Discord it is all individual, and Anthony Folger is winning with 26 points, so he would be crushing us right now anyway. So we don't mention it too much, but so there is a table, and you can see who is in the lead, and we could insert ourselves in that table if we wanted to. I don't want to. Then people realize we have no idea what we're talking about, and that's no good.
People can listen to the show and work that out. So
yeah, that's
I'm going to draw it to a close. Thank you, gents. I think we have covered just about everything. Thank you to everyone who listens and watches the show. We will be back to review the game next week. I think this game has come at a good time. We can build some momentum, get a divisional win, and hopefully stay healthy before the small matter of a trip to Seattle in week 6. So enjoy your weekend, enjoy the game, and go Niners.
Go Niners.
Bang, bang, Nine again.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all with prime time. John Taylor, Jerry Rice down the